What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do a real quick 30-day review of the Skyjacker 8.5-inch lift kit on my 2015 Ford F350 Longbed diesel. So without further ado, let's just jump into this and let's talk about it. Now overall, the Skyjacker lift kit is a pretty good kit. All of the parts fit, all of the parts lined up. I had no problem installing the kit. The quality of the parts was good. The installation was good. Everything lined up. So again, no issue with that. However, there are a few things that you should know about if you're going with this kit. Now, I particularly was going for a more budget-friendly build on this truck. I've done many different lifted truck builds in the past where I've used much more expensive name brand lift kits like McGaughy's and Stryker and so forth. This is the first time trying a more budget-friendly lift kit, which is from Skyjacker. So the first thing that I had a problem with was the rear blocks, and I've already taken the Skyjacker rear blocks out, and I went ahead and bought bigger, beefier Stryker off-road lift blocks for the back. I'll show you. This is the new Stryker off-road lift block. It's a solid block, very beefy, very thick. It comes with the top plate that has the hole cutouts for your U-bolts. It has your side plate here for your bump stop. I also went ahead and upgraded to thicker U-bolts from Stryker as well. And the reason I did this is because the Skyjacker lift kit block is about half the size of this, and they actually expect you to stack their block on top of your factory block, and I just couldn't get it to stay still. They did give me longer U-bolts, but they're a little bit thinner in diameter than these. But no matter how much I kept tightening them down, the U-bolts kept stretching, and the two blocks stacked on top of each other, they kept kind of twisting and rotating a little bit. And I just really didn't like that and didn't feel very safe driving that. And I'll put a picture up here in the corner what it looked like having the two blocks stacked on top of each other. So again, I did go ahead and upgrade the blocks and the U-bolts for the back. Once I did that, the back end tightened up real nice and tight, and I had no further issues with the back. Now, something else you might want to consider doing is getting yourself a spacer for the rear drive shaft. And don't mind some of this. This is just a little bit of anti-seize that I put on here, and that stuff just gets everywhere and makes a mess. But you definitely want to at least get a spacer for your drive shaft, especially if you have a two-piece drive shaft like I do on this truck. It's going to start from the back. It's going to come up, okay? And here's your carrier bearing drop. And then this is where you got two pivoting joints right here. And then it's going to go back up here to your transfer case. Now, this kit does come with a carrier bearing drop bracket right here that I did install. And if you step back a little bit, it's pretty straight for the most part. It's not perfect, but keep in mind, there's a little bit of flex right there. So that little bit of flex that's still there under certain speeding conditions does cause a slight bit of vibration. It's not that bad. It's very, very minor, but I just wanted to point that out. If you really want to do it the right way, which I still might be doing very soon, you could go ahead and rip this whole carrier bearing drop bracket out, rip this whole drive shaft out, and go ahead and get a new custom drive shaft made that's a straight one-piece solid drive shaft from the back all the way to the front with no carrier bearing in the middle. And if you get one custom made, you won't even need a spacer in the back because they'll just make the new drive shaft a little bit longer, and they'll make it nice and beefy so that it lines up straight to the front. And that way you won't have any more vibrations in your drive shaft. But I just wanted to point that out because these types of things are not included in the Skyjacker kit. And if you're not aware of these things, your experience with this kit might not be as good as it can be. So again, the reason I went with this kit is for budget-friendly purposes, because the Skyjacker 8.5-inch lift kit with the 4-link comes in at less than $3,000. It's actually a very well-valued lift kit for the Ford F350. It is a great deal. I just want to point out that that's not necessarily everything you're going to need to make this kit truly drive as it should. So again, the first issue I had, and I recommend replacing, is the rear blocks. Get rid of the smaller stackable blocks and go with taller, bigger blocks. They're not that expensive. If you can, get thicker U-bolts. It'll really tighten up the back end. Number two, get yourself a cheap little spacer for the back drive shaft and make sure you install the carrier bearing drop bracket in the right orientation to keep your drive shaft fairly straight. If you want to actually take it a step further and do it the right way, I definitely recommend replacing the whole rear drive shaft with a solid straight drive shaft that's a little bit longer, and that'll eliminate that vibration, which I might end up doing very soon. I haven't made my mind up yet. Now, the third issue that I had that I haven't fixed yet is the front drive shaft, which is what runs your four-wheel drive. Here is the front drive shaft that's connected here and gets connected down there. When you put on this lift kit, you now have a steeper angle here and a little bit more of a different angle down here. So when you do lock your hubs and put it in four-wheel drive, you're going to have a ton of vibration, which is not fun to drive in. So the only way to really fix that is to actually replace this drive shaft with a new custom angle drive shaft. There's a company out in California which they specialize in custom angle drive shafts for lifted trucks. But keep in mind that front custom drive shaft could run you upwards of $1,300 in today's inflated market. It used to be a lot cheaper, but expect to pay probably around $1,300 for a new custom drive shaft. So again, that would be my third issue that I wanted to bring up with you so that you are aware of it. Now again, you could get this lift kit a little cheaper depending on the shocks you go with. I actually went with the M95 shocks, which is a little bit of their middle of the road shocks, which are similar to Bilstein shocks. And I also went with the Skyjacker dual steering stabilizer here as well. So again, if you get the Skyjacker lift kit with the M95 shocks and the front dual steering stabilizer, you could be anywhere from about $2,700 to $3,000 for this kit, which again is a good deal for this kit. However, I ended up spending about another $500 on new lift blocks and new U-bolts for the back. So that added to the cost. Then you're going to be spending roughly another $1,000 to $1,300 on a new front drive shaft to fix your four-wheel drive vibration issue. So now you're well up over $4,000. Then if you end up opting for a new longer solid piece drive shaft, you have that cost, which could be about another $1,000 to $1,300. So again, I just wanted to point out that if you're going with the Skyjacker lift kit to save money, if you really want your truck to drive nice, you're going to end up spending a little bit more on a few other parts to really dial it in and make it drive nice. And once you do that, you're going to be pushing $5,000 again, which is what some of those other name brand higher quality lift kits start at. So just keep that in mind. Now, at the end of the day, if you do end up upgrading all of that stuff, is this still a better value? In my opinion, yes, because some of those other kits that are $5,000 to $7,000, they don't come with a new rear drive shaft. They might come with a new front drive shaft, but still you're spending several $1,000s just to get that name brand lift kit. And again, this lift kit at about $3,000 plus a new drive shaft in the front, so now you're looking at about $4,000, is still a pretty good value, and I'm still happy with this lift kit. And just to throw one more thing out there, any truck, any lift kit, no matter what, you might want to consider getting traction bars in the back, because these trucks don't have much holding this rear axle to the frame. If you think about it, your leaf springs are basically bolted to the frame and the axle is bolted to the leaf springs, but that's pretty much about it, besides a little shock and your drive shaft. So what happens is on some of these bigger trucks, especially diesel trucks, because they have so much torque and power, that you're going to experience a lot of axle wrap and wheel hop. And this truck is no different. I notice a lot of wheel hop, especially when I'm giving it some gas around a corner. I can feel the back end hopping across the road a little bit. But when you really slam on that gas pedal, that pinion angle down here, it's gonna lift up. Okay, and then if you happen to slam on your brakes or really press on the brakes, that pinion angle is going to drop down. And when you're doing that, you're now throwing off the angle of your drive shaft again, which could also cause a little bit of vibration. So I would recommend getting yourself a set of traction bars, whether your truck is lifted or not. If you get some traction bars, they actually make weld-on traction bars, and then they make bolt-on traction bars. But the purpose of a traction bar is it's going to stop your axle from rotating up and down, which is going to help keep your drive shaft at a pretty straight angle so that it's not always rotating up and down under acceleration or braking. Now, keep in mind, traction bars can run anywhere from about $700 and up. But what I'll probably be doing to this truck is I think I'm going to probably get a set of white tubular traction bars to really help keep that axle centered. And then I'll probably end up saving up and getting a new one-piece solid drive shaft. and then I'll save up and get a new custom angle drive shaft for the four-wheel drive. And then once I do all of that, this truck should be riding perfect. But again, today's video was just to go over my overall impressions of the Skyjacker 8.5-inch lift kit, and I still give it a thumbs up and give it a go. It's a quality lift kit. I just wanted to let you guys know that it's not perfect out of the box. So if you're buying this lift kit anywhere from say $2,000 to $3,000, just know there's probably a few more things you're gonna have to do to really get your truck riding right, which adds to the cost. So when you start comparing the Skyjacker lift kit to a more name brand lift kit, just know once you start adding some of these upgraded parts to it, you're really starting to get close to the bigger name brand companies. But in my honest opinion, I still think at the end of the day, even after you upgrade those parts, you're still gonna come in less, which makes the Skyjacker lift kit a better value. But there you go, everybody. That's going to be it for today's video. I really just wanted to give you a quick overview of my opinion of the Skyjacker 8.5-inch high lift kit for the Ford F350 diesel truck with an 8-foot bed. I think it's a great kit. I think it comes in at a great value. I just want you guys to know that there are a few things you're probably going to have to update to really get your truck driving nice, because right out of the box, you might not have the best experience in drive quality until you upgrade some of those parts. But that's going to be it for today's video. I hope this video helps some of you out. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button and like this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And also do me a favor, subscribe to the channel because it definitely helps me out and I greatly appreciate it. So that's it. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you. I truly appreciate you all. And as always, see you in the next video.